Caleb Yip, the only student in my career who did not flinch when I passed out Moby Dick. This kid reads voraciously. He makes his English teachers feel underread. He's a college professor in the body of a teenager. Give him a test on a 300-page book, he'll finish it, turn it over, and pull a 400-page book out of his backpack. In fact, it's not at all clear that Caleb even needs school. Evidently, Georgetown wants him so badly that he'll have to pay less for undergrad than I'm paying for my used Toyota. My advice to him is this: aim high, Caleb, and start your own university.
Okay, I have Mark Hardigan this year in AP Computer Science. A funny story about Mark. Several months ago, I was at just someone's wedding, and I happened to be sitting next to a woman who was a teacher at NA. She's now retired, but she worked in like the elementary or middle schools. And literally for the entire wedding, she talked to me about Mark Hardigan and how wonderful he is, and of course I agree, and you know how bright, and she couldn't remember how old he was, but I was telling her, he's a senior now, he's graduating. So, I mean, we talked about Mark for a really long time. It was very important to her. And when I got in on Monday, I told him about it. And then, of course, I had written down her name in my phone because it was so important to her that I told him that she said hello. And then I was like, I looked at the name and I'm like, oh, Mark, it's this woman. She said to say hello. And he was just like, yeah, I don't remember her. So it was so funny because it was obviously really important to her. He had no recollection, but.
The Andita Canapati is a very meticulous and witty young lady. I enjoy our inside jokes and all of our friend references in class, and I wish her the best of luck in this next chapter of her life.
Who's next? Samir Yalapragada? Are you sure he's a top scholar? Okay. Well, we've all heard the stories. Star of stage and screen, Mr. Shakespeare monologue, Mr. Humorous interp, all-purpose school assembly MC. Yes, he is an enterprising lad, isn't he? And his self-confidence does appear to be boundless, but I can't get past this feeling that something doesn't add up here. This kid can grow a beard faster than Mr. Venezia, and Venezia needs to shave in between class periods. How old is this Samir Yalapragada, after all? How do we know he hasn't already taken these classes, read these books? I went to Ancestry.com to investigate the origins of this rather curious Yalapragada surname. It doesn't exist. There's only one way to come clean, Samir. Show us your tax returns.
I had Angela Liu last year in computer science. So Angela, I'm super excited, is majoring in computer science next year. I always love it when my ladies choose to go further in that subject. So Angela's one that I truly don't know how she fits into 24 hours, what she fits in. She does amazing in school, obviously. She goes to Jewish gymnastics 5 to 6 days a week for hours every night. And I see her there every once in a while. That's where I take my son to gymnastics. So every time I'm there, she's always there. And another interesting thing about Angela, the one I teach for one period of the day in Mr. Lester's room, and I walked into his room one time, and there was like on Pi Day, there was like 200 digits of pi written down on his board. And my trade kids were like, "What is that? Who did that?" And he's like, "Oh, Angela Liu just got up there and wrote 200 digits of pi from memory," and he said he checked them and they were all correct, which was crazy.
Kevin Shu, smooth operator, eminently likable kid, and a consistently high A student through even the most daunting assignments. Could have fooled me, but he seemed immune to stress. He laughs a lot, both at himself and at others. He takes a joke well. He delivered a rousing performance of the clownish porter in our class production of Macbeth. And his writing is exemplary. In fact, on essay days, I'd pull his essay first to set the standard for A writing. Then the burden was on the rest of the essays in the pile to live up to that standard. My advice to Kevin, use that voice of yours. He has this velvety smooth baritone. He should either start his own crisis hotline or narrate wildlife documentaries.
Raghu Venkatesh, for a long time, I thought that he was not very nice, and then I realized he's just really sarcastic. So he would, when he was in class, we did like a lot of discussion board stuff, and he would always write stuff back to people that was like really snarky, and I realized after like 6 months that he's actually just very funny and has that kind of humor that is so smart that some people just don't realize that he's just being funny. But he's also super bright, and I think he's going to see, is he going to CMU? Yeah, that sounds right. But anyways, he's so bright, and I know that he'll be very successful wherever he goes.
I'll always remember Jess Hood in the detention room. That's my favorite memory of Jess. Actually, she was just making up a test for me in detention. She did not really deserve to be there, and I don't think she really wanted to be there either, judging from the other students she was sitting by. Because she always has a smile on her face. She's an intelligent mind and a warm heart. And my advice to you would be just to surround yourself with people like you, because you have so much to offer the world.
Hi, I'm Kathy Will, and I have the pleasure of getting to talk about Yara Al-Khatib as a scholar, and we're going to do a Corny Scholar program, so I can talk about all the ways that she's so special. So as for smart, Yara is smart, obviously, or she wouldn't be here tonight, but I really want to talk about her character and other qualities that I see in her. C is for caring. Whether she's mentoring a student from Grandview Elementary or welcoming new refugees to Pittsburgh, she's very caring. H is honorable. Yara is successful in Model UN and global leadership, but because of the qualities that she represents as a delegate and compromising make her an honorable delegate. O for open. Yara is open to new ideas, new foods, new experiences all the time. L for loved. Yara is loved by friends and family alike. A for animated. She is genuine, animated, and open with emotion and sincerity in everything she does. And R is for real. Yara is the real deal as validated by her receiving the Coca-Cola Scholarship this year. Yara, you are really awesome.
Andre Pang, the ace, Mr. Perfect Score, grace under pressure. The man has ice in his veins. He's unflappable. Try as you might, he cannot be flapped. After we read The Great Gatsby last year, we turned to calling him Pangsby for the rest of the year. It was a fitting tribute to Andre's poise, the debonair arch of his brow as he vanquished one multiple choice passage after the next. I could never figure out how he got so smart, though. As soon as homeroom would begin, he'd pull out his phone and begin to play mindless video games until the bell rang.
Becca Avogad is a very good-hearted and upbeat personality in our class. She's done a lot for our JCL chapter, and she always asks great and thought-provoking questions. She's a loyal friend, and she's always there supporting everybody else. Best of luck at Penn next year, Becca.
Hi. Well, when asked to speak about Anastasia, I wanted to know where did she land in the distribution of scholars? And if you can see over here, this is the distribution of scholars. This is your average scholar, and this is Anastasia. As one can plainly see, she falls many standard deviations above average. and thus I am convinced she is indeed a top scholar. So, besides all that BS, Anastasia, thank you for picking me. I'm honored to be a part of this, so thank you.
I met Tina Lee a few years back. Whenever she was taking classes here at Nash when she was at NAI, she would come, drop her backpack down, would execute the most perfect pull-ups, pick her backpack up, and leave. Then last year, I was so excited, first day of school, going over my class roster and seeing her name. And she did not disappoint. She is just an amazing student. She's a true leader. She's hardworking. She is such a beautiful person on the inside and out. She's probably the most humble person I know, especially because she is probably the most athletic person I know, so intelligent and her peers look up to her. I will always hold Tina with the highest admiration. Love you, Tina.
Well, Sarah Lasco is proof that God loves us and that the universe can make sense. Here's the thing, she's a top scholar who wants to teach in a culture that is so intent on luring the best students away from a career in education. The field they're best at, she's the shining exception. She's also proof that it takes more than brains to make a great teacher. You need to have heart, too. She's got all the right stuff, and I hope my own kid winds up in her class someday. If you're looking for a reason to be proud of public education in America, Sarah Lasco is it. Truly, the worst I can say about her is that she had a habit of accidentally leaving behind not one, but 2 flutes in my classroom every day last year.
My favorite memory of Sue is when she was writing an essay, and she always takes a lot of time for essays, and she never wants to give it up, and she's holding on to her essays, and I'm waiting for her to finish that last sentence, which sometimes becomes a paragraph. And at one point I said, I need to be fair, Sue, and I grabbed the essay and it ripped, and so I felt really bad about that. But it's because she's such a hard worker, and she is a young woman who, if she finds a weakness, she works very hard to improve. And I don't think there's anything that she can't do if she sets her mind to it.
David Bjorklund is a respectful and good-hearted young man. He does everything with his whole heart, and he is a great friend to those in the class. I wish David the best of luck, and I've loved seeing him grow up to the young man that he is today.
Okay, I have Anna Lee this year in computer science, but I noticed Anna last year. So outside of teaching, I coach weightlifting. So I noticed Anna and Tina walking around, and I felt like I was staring at them creepily because they look so athletic. I always thought, man, I would love to turn these girls into weightlifters. So I always felt like, oh my goodness, I hope they don't notice me staring at them. But then, so then I had them in class and was super excited, and I have them both together. But Anna, I'm so excited. She's considering maybe majoring in computer science next year, so I'm so excited because she'll be so fabulous at that. And we started a weightlifting club this year, and she comes to that, so I also got her to lift with me this year, which has been great. So Anna's going to be super successful wherever she goes next year.
Hey Guna, congratulations, buddy. I couldn't be prouder of your achievements, and you definitely go down as one of my favorite kids of all time. I will miss you a lot. I just won't miss you me having to get you out of here all the time whenever you're on that restroom pass. All right, buddy. Congratulations.
On Molinand, tough-minded kid, quick, self-assured, edgier than his older brother. I've seen his public forum practices, and I still can't figure out why he's not planning to go to law school. One of those kids who is so smart he's easily bored, not easy to impress or to motivate. He began his senior year last year as a junior. He needs to go to college. Now. It was a challenge to teach him first period last year, but I did find one surefire technique for engaging him in class. All I had to do was make fun of Samir, and suddenly Anmal sprang to life.
Jane Venezia is a humble and personable young lady. She carries herself with a poise beyond her years, but still has fun, sometimes too much fun. She will bring a smile and her can-do attitude to everywhere that she goes. Best of luck next year.
I have Alex this year in AP Computer Science. Alex is very bright, super athletic, and he folds paper. So he does origami. And there have been multiple times where, the students are supposed to be working on their programs, and I'll kind of look over and he's folding paper. And I'm always like, Alex, are you done with your program? Yeah, he's always done, but he's just folding paper in his free time.
Hey Steven, it's Coach in F8. Super proud of what you were able to do here. Loved having you on a team for these last 4 years. Loved having you in class this last year. I won't tell all the things I know about what you did on your long runs, but we'll just keep it a congratulations. Good job, buddy.
Julie Chen, there are 25 hours in her day. It takes longer to read her resume than it does to chop down the tree, break it down to pulp, and then press dry and cut the paper on which her resume is printed. Always on the go, high energy, hustle and bustle. She's a club unto herself. It can be tough to keep track of her movements, however. I asked the main office here at Nash to pull her file and show me all of her field trip forms from the past 2 years. Look at this mountain of paper. I tutored Julie since she was in the 8th grade. It was a great gig that I'm sure to miss. We'd work on the ACT and SAT while her grandmother would cook Chinese food for me to take home. I even learned to speak a little Mandarin. Shishi, Grandma.
Kimberly Del Senor is a motivated and poised young lady. She's been a vital part of our JCL leadership over the past several years. It's been great seeing Kimberly grow up from the 8th grader to the senior she is today. Best of luck at Duke next year.